start with the gross earnings figure, up 33% for the 9 months. Can you just give us the story behind that performance?
Well, the basic story, if you have the details of the account, is in 2-3 places. One, our life income has started growing. In the past, we don't have as much income as we had in the first 3 quarters of this year. Basically because some of the policies being put in place by government, particularly on Pension Reform Act, has started yielding fruit. And part of the fruit is what we are benefiting in Continental that has given us the opportunity to have a good jump on our life portfolio. Second place is the oil and energy portfolio. We don't have the oil and energy desk in the past. Now we have oil and energy desk, and we're benefiting from insurances of oil and energy businesses in the country particularly. But we are planning to move outside of Nigeria to also participate in other countries' oil and energy business. And the third point is that we have diversified outside of Nigeria by opening offices in Nairobi, Kenya, as well as Cameroon. And those 2 places are really bringing in a lot of money to the extent that they are now contributing about 35% of our income.
What about the investment income side? How is that performing?
Well, the investment income has not really performed very well for 2-3 reasons. There's been a crash in interest rate. Because we are a reinsurance company, we prefer to keep substantial part of our funds liquid such that at any point in time we'll be able to pay a claim that arises. And as such, we depend on money market instruments to be able to make good investment income. As of last year, we are experiencing 10 to 14%, but this year is 2 to 4%. And it's not peculiar to Nigeria. Even the Cameroon office will have, Nairobi office will have. There's so much liquidity in those areas too, to the extent that we don't really have much investment income coming in.
And then of course the stock market.
To worsen the situation, the stock market situation has also affected us in such a way that we have to make provision for the diminution in the value of our assets, and the little income we are able to make is eroded by these provisions. But it's better for us to have strong asset than a toxic asset that is not good to the company.
Now, we know Nigeria is just gradually coming out of a banking crisis. That must have had an impact on your business.
Yes, definitely it does. It does in the areas of investment particularly. For us, luckily for us, most of the banks we do business with are still strong banks. They are not affected by the crisis substantially. But we also invested in some of their stocks, and the prices had really crashed. And it also has been this kind of impact on us. Then the central bank reforms and regulations, interest rate regime, and so on and so forth is affecting us badly, because a major area of income are underwriting income as well as investment income. But now, thank God, our underwriting income is strong when the investment income is weak, and that's why our bottom line is growing the way it's growing now.
I mean, moving closer to the bottom line, we did see your profit numbers quarter-on-quarter slow down relative to Q2, even though the top line is pretty much in line with what we saw in the second quarter. What was responsible for that?
We are just being conservative because, you know, we deal with claims, and we're making provision for, or what we call reserve, for expected claims that may arise by the end of the year. If you look at last year, we were by this time at a loss, but by the end of the year, when we did the final adjustment, we came out fine. It's the policy of the company to be very, very careful in order not to give wrong impression to shareholders and investors. If at the end of the year, the claims we expected to arise during the remaining part of the quarter does not actually come up, you find out that we'll do the adjustment and everything would even out. So we're just being cautious.
But against that background, can you give some guidance into what we'll see in the fourth quarter and, of course, your full year numbers?
Well, I can just assure you that the trend is going to be better, because I would normally have more activities at the last quarter of the year. People want to renew their business with us, so they pay us, they give us all the accounts that they should have given to us. So at the end of the quarter, we expect this same trend to continue, barring any unforeseen big claim like we had last year. At the end of the year, we believe that will be far, far better than what we did last year. I cannot give a specific figure as at now.
Okay, we also know that, of course, the broader insurance sector and, of course, the economy has been under pressure this year. Give us a sense of where you see the opportunities going forward for the insurance sector.
The critical opportunity for African insurance sector is the private insurance. What I mean by private insurance is people like you patronizing the insurance industry by buying life policy for yourself and every member of your family, insuring all the little assets you have, insuring your car, insuring your house. Private insurances are where we have greatest opportunity, and that is why the insurance penetration in Africa, except South Africa, is very low. For instance, Nigerian insurance penetration is less than 1%. And look at the population of 150 million. It means that so many of us in this part of the world are not really showing much interest, probably out of lack of knowledge, lack of interest, or poverty. But as things continue to improve, I see a lot of penetration coming up from the grassroots, and the grassroots patronizing the insurance industry. And that would make a major booster for us. For us in Nigeria, the National Insurance Commission, the regulatory authority, has taken it upon itself to come up with 5 products which they believe will enhance the penetration of insurance in this country. For instance, it's compulsory for every public building to be insured. It's compulsory for motor to be insured. It's now compulsory for any employer having more than 5 employees to have group life policy, workmen compensation, and so on. So 5 products are coming up which will be made compulsory. And by the time you patronize one and you get the benefit of that one, it will encourage you to patronize other products insurance companies are selling. And with that, we believe that in another 5 years, the level of penetration in this country will be totally different.
Well, it sounds like this is probably the time to get into your stock, because obviously insurance stocks are depressed significantly in Nigeria.
Yes, we are depressed, but I believe that it's just because of the economic recession as well as the stock market situations, which has affected most of the companies, because all of us, by the regulation and the accounting standard, are now being moved to make necessary provisions and removing the toxic assets we have in our book.
Unfortunately, we can't take it much further, but thank you so much for joining us.